Yes, Sheikh, we can hear it on your YouTube. It's working.
Okay, excellent. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of Aqaid al-Imamiyya by the late Ayatollah Sheikh Muzaffar. And as you remember, we talked about the necessity of inquiring and understanding. Then we talked about the necessity of following in practical rulings a qualified jurist. Then we talked about ijtihad, and then we talked about mujtahid. So these introductory discussions, alhamdulillah, finished. Now we go to the next part, which is about what he calls al-ilahiyat, about theology. And the first thing to discuss here, which would be from the beginning, about God the Almighty. Many of the things here might be agreeable to all Muslims or even to all followers of Abrahamic religions, but there are also details that some schools of Islam might disagree, although sometimes these are not known to the public. There are some theological schools, some madhahib, that today when you ask Muslims, they don't know about them. Actually, many of them, they don't know about Kalami schools, and they mostly think about fiqhi school, like, Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali. But these are fiqhi schools. These are not Kalami schools. So someone who is Hanafi in fiqh, then in Kalam might be, for example, Maturidi. So it's very important that they should know, are they Maturidi, they are Ash'ari, they are Mu'tazili, they are Ahl Hadith, and so on and so forth. Okay, but what is the Shia understanding? نعتقد أن الله تعالى واحد أحد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. What type of one? Is he numerically one? No. For example, when we say there is one person here, there is one book on the desk, there is one tree in that road. This is numeric. It means one of many, one individual of a type. You can think of 2, 3, 4 millions, endless numbers. Maybe right now only one exists, or maybe one exists here, or maybe even no one exists. For example, I had a tree which dried out, finished, I don't have it. Someone had a horse, the horse died, has no horse. But I still can say one horse. I had one horse, I no longer have that one horse. Or for example, dinosaurs have finished, but still we can think of one or many dinosaurs. This is not the sense in which we say Allah is one. When we say Allah is one, we mean that He cannot have 2 or 3. He is one of a type. The whole type can only be one. So if I want to give an example, we can say of, for example, think of whiteness, bayad. How many bayad or whiteness you can imagine? Only one. If you just consider bayad, simply white, there's only one. Yes, if I say one white chair, white paper, white, I don't know, wall, can have many white things, but just white. Ulama say, صرف الشيء لا يتثنى ولا يتكرر. If you just consider simply the mahiyya, the quiddity, it cannot be repeated, it cannot be second or third. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one in this sense, not in numeric sense. He is one and you cannot think of second for him. He is sarful wujud, he is mutlaqul wujud, he is simply existent, he is absolutely existent. We cannot think of second or third. Because when there is simply existent thing, then the second would not have any difference. What would be something that makes it second? If you don't add anything to it, it cannot be second or third. So he is wahidun ahad. Ahad makes it more clear. Ahad is clearer than wahid for God. Means someone who cannot have second and third, someone who has no parts, not only no partners, no parts. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. There is nothing like him, or if you want to translate it literally, there's nothing like him, because it doesn't say لَيْسَ مِثْلَهُ شَيْءٌ, it says لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ, but it means the same. It means never think of something similar to God. Yes, we can have mathal for God, not mithl. Mathal is different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring examples, parables to help us understand him. مَثَلُ نُورِهِ كَمِشْكَاتٍ. Or for example, someone who listens only to Allah or listens to different people. ضرب الله مثلا رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون ورجلا سلما للرجل. This is a مثل. This is a parable. It's an analogy. It's okay. But مثل, similar. What can be similar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Nothing can be similar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we try to resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can try to do tashabbuh. Like for example, تخلقوا بأخلاق الله. Try to acquire traits of character which resemble Allah's attributes and qualities. Allah is generous. You should also try to be generous. Allah is kind. Allah is forgiving. Allah is merciful. Allah is loving. So you should try to resemble Allah, but you can never become similar to him. So you understand there is a difference between being similar to him and between trying to resemble him. قديم لم يزل ولا يزال. He is eternal. He never had any history of non-existence and is not going to have a future of non-existence. He has no beginning and no end. He is eternal. Our theologians they use three terms: azali, abadi, sarmadi. Azali means has no beginning, although azali can sometimes mean no beginning and no end, but the first meaning of azali is not something that has no beginning. Abadi means everlasting, has no end. Sarmadi means has no beginning and no end. So, huwa al-awwalu wal-akhir. He is the first and the last. So nothing is before him, nothing is after him. And everything in him begins and ends. But he has no beginning and no end. Huwa al-awwalu wal-akhir, as we said, the first and the last. Alimun. He knows everything. Even he knows all the details. He knows things that have not yet happened. Actually, he knew the whole universe before it was created. He knows himself, and he has knowledge of everything in his essence, and he has knowledge of everything as a quality of action, because ilm can be a quality of essence, sifat zati, and can be a quality of action, sifat fi'l. In any case, he knows everything. This is agreed on in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, that Allah knows everything. And he is Hakim, he is wise. He knows the best maslahat, the best interest, and he does everything in the best form. He is Hakim. Hikmah of Allah is very important. Adilun. He never does any injustice. What should motivate him to do injustice? Is there any need that he has? Sometimes people do zulm because either they don't know, they disregard rights of people because they don't know, or they may know but they want to be lazy, they are not patient, they want shortcuts, they do zulm because they want to become richer faster, they want to become more powerful faster. So either there is a limit in their knowledge, or there is a limit in their power, or limit in their benevolence. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolutely knowledgeable, absolutely powerful, absolutely benevolent. So why he should do zulm? And who has anything that Allah, by taking from him, can add to himself? Whatever everything has comes from him. We cannot add to him. We cannot take away from him. We cannot add to him. Imagine if I have a bank account, I have $1 million, for example, in the bank account. And then I say to the bank, please make this one bank account into some sub accounts. I want something for my personal use. I want something for my business. I want saving account. So make this for me 3 accounts. Okay, if I put anything in these accounts, am I losing them? No, it's the same $1 million that I divide how to be put into these accounts. They are not making me richer, they are not making me poorer. It's the same thing. So whatever we have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By giving us, he doesn't become poor, and there is nothing that he can take away from us to become richer. So why he should do zulm? Doesn't make any sense. Hayyun, he is living. The quality of life is very important. The paper about bioethics and about value of life in Islam, and also in the lectures about Hayat Tayyiba, we have discussed this. This is actually again one of the qualities shared by Muslims and Christian Jews. God is the living. Life is very important. If God was dead, na'udhu billah, or even if God was not dead but was sleeping, or even if he was not sleeping but sleepy. You know, when you are sleepy, maybe some of you are experiencing now. If you are sleepy, you don't understand what is happening, and you don't have control over environment. This is why we say, Allahu la ilaha illahu al-hayyul qayyum la ta'khudhuhu sanatun wa la nawmun. Neither he sleeps nor he needs a nap. He is high, and life is not the earth, and is not even sleeping, but sleeping is a kind of death. Allahu yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtaha wallati lam tamut fi manamiha. Sleeping is a partial death, but not complete death. It's a reduction in the activities of the soul in running the body. And you see how soul can have some rest. And body also can have some rest because soul demands less from them. So he is fully alive. Even he's not sleeping, he's not getting tired, he doesn't need nap. He's aware. Mutakallamun theologians say that life of Allah goes back to his knowledge and power and will. Al-ilm, wal-qudra, wal-irada are three elements that make up the concept of hayat. Qadirun, he has all power. He's capable over doing everything. And we mean by qudra that he can do what he wants. If he doesn't want, he wouldn't do it. He is not forced. If someone is forced, we don't say he has power. Kawnul fa'ila, this is the theological definition of power. Kawnul fa'ila بحيث إذا شاء فعل وإذا لم يشأ لم يفعل. If the doer is acting when he wants and doesn't act when he doesn't want, has full control, has will, this is qudra. So when someone is dropping from top of a building and the gravity is bringing him down, we don't say he has power for falling. This is not a voluntary action, therefore this is not power. Although he's dropping, he's falling, but we don't say he has power for falling because he has no power for stopping that. You only have power for doing something when you cannot do it. Ghaniyun, he is rich, he has no need. Absolutely free from any need. He doesn't need anything. There is an ayah in the Quran which is very deep. Many, of course, all the verses of the Quran are very deep, but for our discussion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لو أردنا أن نتخذ لهوا لَاتَّخَذْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا إِنْ كُنَّا فَاعِلِينَ. Had we wanted to have some amusement, some leisure time, because some people maybe think Allah has created us to keep himself busy. Like, someone who creates some toys to play with. Some people think maybe Allah has created us to, keep himself busy, to enjoy himself. But we cannot even do that for him. He says, لو أردنا أن نتخذ لهوا. Had we wanted to choose a kind of entertainment or amusement for ourselves, لَاتَّخَذْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا. It was more amazing and more entertaining to reflect internally. Allah could enjoy himself more by considering himself than considering his creatures. Like the people who are very intellectual, very contemplative, very knowledgeable, very wise, very beautiful in their heart, very serene and tranquil. What is the greatest joy for them? Just to be alone. If they are alone, that's the best thing for them. So he has no need of any kind of need. Sami'un basira. Maybe this could have come right after Alim, because Sami' and Basir are two actually branches, referred to two branches of the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has knowledge of whatever can be heard, sounds, voices, noises, and he has knowledge of whatever can be seen. So it's not that he hears like we hear, but the result of us hearing, which is to know the sounds and the voice, is there. Therefore they say Sami' means alimun bil masmu'at. Basir means alimun bil mubsarat. Why Quran focuses on these two in addition to saying alim? Alim was enough to say he knows everything. Because there can be many reasons, but I mentioned one reason. Because we human beings are very much attached to the things that we hear and we watch. The best thing is to watch. The second best is to hear. If I can hear you, I never doubt you. If I can see you, it's even better. These are the most maybe specific types of knowledge that we have. After that comes touching, smelling, and other things. This is for most of people. Maybe for philosophers, the most important knowledge is the intellectual knowledge through arguments, demonstration, deduction. But for most of us, the best thing is to see and then to hear. And also, if you see someone is watching you or someone is hearing you, you become very careful. If I tell you whatever you do in this room will be reported, you will be very careful. But still, you say, okay, how much they can report? But if I say, whatever you do in this room or say in this room is recorded, and the manager will watch it and hear it, it makes another impact on you. You become more careful. Although, when I said it was reported and he would know, was enough. But if I say he would watch it and hear it, you realize that no, it's very particular, very specific. No way to bring excuses. So, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows our mentality, so he emphasizes on him being hearing and watching. Alam ya'lam ba'anna Allah yara. Doesn't the man know that Allah is watching him? But watching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like watching us something by our eyes. It's much, much, much more deeper and comprehensive. Imagine if someone watches another person just by eyes, how much he can see. Just the surface of the front of the body of that person. You cannot see behind. You cannot see internal. You cannot even see internal of the body, let alone to see what is happening in his heart, in his mind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He is watching us, He is watching every direction, from every angle of us, on the surface, in every cell of us. It's like a CT scan, but million times more accurate than CT scan. Plus, He scans our mind and heart, not surface of the heart, up to the end. To the extent that He knows better. يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. So, you have to know that it's not just He is hearing or He is watching like us. He knows everything. As we say in Dua Joshan, عَالِمٌ بِالْخَفِيَّاتِ. He knows all the hidden things. Okay. وَلَا يُوصَفُ بِمَا تُوصَفُ بِهِ الْمَخْلُوقَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not be described by what the creatures are described. Any descriptions for creatures would fall short. For example, فَلَيْسَ هُوَ بِالْجِسْمِ. Can we say he's a jism? He's a physical object? No. وَلَا صُورَةٍ. Is he a form? No. To understand form better, we need to go to philosophy. But basically, form is the substantial actuality of a physical or sometimes immaterial thing. For example, if I want to simplify, you have some wood, some nails, then you give the form of the chair. The matter, the mud is wood, the form is the chair. It's to make it very simple. Or you have animal soul, and then you give human soul, nafs al-natiqah, then becomes human beings. This nafs al-natiqah is the form for human soul. And human soul is the form on top of another form, which is plant, vegetative soul. And vegetative soul, another form on top of jism. So, he is not jism. He is not surah, is not a form. لَيْسَ جَوْهَرًا وَلَا عَرَضًا. He is neither a substance nor accident, because both jawhar and araz are two types of mahiyya. Mahiyya is for things which are contingent, which are mumkin. Allah is not mumkin. Is wajibul wujud. لَيْسَ لَهُ ثِقْلٌ أَوْ خِفَّةٌ. He is neither heavy or light. Because to be heavy or to be light are two characteristics of material things. Since he has no jism, to say he is heavy or he is light, both of them are wrong. La haraka aw sukun. If you say he's moving or he's idle, because sukun we use it for something which can move. If you want to say he has no haraka, that's another thing. But if you want to say haraka or sukun, he's moving or idle or stopping, none of them apply to him. La makanun wala zamanun wala yusharu ilayh. He has no space nor time. He created the time and the space. How can then he himself be embraced by time or space? He's above time and space. and you cannot point at him because he doesn't occupy any place. If you were able to point at him, means he is not then present in the person who is pointing and behind and in other directions. You cannot point at him. There is no place that he's not there, so that you say, oh, he's in that particular direction. Okay, I think I stop here because I want also to have some time for questions, and then inshallah we continue tomorrow. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you, Sheikh, for the very informative fourth night.
You're welcome.
One question we had, which was from a couple days back ago when we were talking about marja'iyya.
Yes.
Can you change your marja' from one to another if you chose your marja' based on what your parents followed and didn't actually do any research at that time? And if so, how? Or how does it work?
If you realize that you made mistake and the person that you were following was not qualified or is not qualified, then you have to change. Either was not qualified from the beginning, or maybe was qualified but now he has lost the qualities, or another person has emerged which is more qualified, more knowledgeable. You have to change. But if your marja is still qualified, is still a'lam, you cannot change. If the second person is equal, then here many maraja allow shifting from a marja to another marja who is equal in knowledge. But it's better not to change if you are not sure. When you know your current marja is qualified and you are not sure whether it is okay to shift to someone who is equal or not. But if you are sure that the second person is more knowledgeable, more qualified, then you must change.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. If all our marja'iyya source of information is the same, i.e. they are connected to the Quran and the Imam of our time, then why their fatwas differ amongst them, and hence Muslims have to choose between them and follow different marjas? Every Ramadan, people begin fasting on slightly different dates and hence celebrate Eid on different days depending on the marja fatwa's decision.
Yes.
This makes it confusing for us and our kids.
It's a very good question. Our maraj have the same sources. What are the sources? Quran, Sunnah, Aql, Ijma. They don't have access to Imam Zaman. If they had access to Imam Zaman, then Imam would give them the same answer. No, this is the time of ghaiba. Time of ghaiba, as we explained, is the time that there is no direct communication to Imam. Even Imam doesn't appoint who is going to be his na'ib. We should go by rules. We should go by guidelines this time of ghaiba. So what they have is Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, and Aql. So they should go to these sources and with maximum carefulness, with utmost efforts, try to understand the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is very obvious that people may come up with different understanding. Two people may understand from the same ayah. You know, you have so many tafasir. People may understand from the same ayah, from the same hadith, different things. Or for example, based on whether they can verify the chain of this hadith or not, how to make it compatible with another hadith. There are so many things that they need to decide. And because they may come up with different conclusions, their fatwas can be different. Of course, I can tell you, when it comes to those things that are applicable to us, not all the masail of Risala. There are thousands of masail in Risala to help us when they happen to us. But what we need on a daily basis for salat, for wuzu, for fasting, what we need on a daily basis, I can tell you 70-80% is the same. It's not that they disagree on everything. No. When it comes to most common issues, they are very much similar, but there are differences. Especially when you consider the practical side. For example, some person says it's wajib, some says it's ihtiyat wajib. Yes, from fiqh point of view, it makes big difference. Wajib is something, ihtiyat wajib something else. But from practical side, you do it. So it's not that they differ on everything, but there are differences, and the reason is that they have to go back to the Quran, to the Hadith, to Aql, to Ijma, and because now, especially we are after 14 centuries, looking into the Hadith, there are lots of things that they have to decide. Chains of the Hadith, Delala of the Hadith, how to put this Hadith together, Ta'adul, Taraji, whether this was said for Taqiyya or not. So many things to consider which can affect their judgment.
Okay, I think we have time for one more.
Yes.
What is the best duty or action of a believer waiting for Imam Mahdi alayhi salam? So I guess what's the best action they can do while waiting for him?
It's very difficult for me to single out one action. Maybe I can say to make your ma'rifah of Imam better. This would mean that you have to make your ma'rifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better, your ma'rifah of yourself, your ma'rifah of community, ma'rifah of this time, enemies, challenges, opposite better. But I don't mean by ma'rifah just theoretical ma'rifah, knowledge. I mean acquaintance. Know more about Imam with your heart and mind, to the extent that you can feel his pain and joy. Any decision that you want to make, you should be able to feel, is this going to make him happy or unhappy? Any human being, especially any follower, any Shia, from any part of the world, do you feel responsible towards them or not? Do you become happy for their happiness? Are you grateful for their success or not? This kind of ma'rifah of Imam, if you can achieve, this is the best, because it would either presuppose or would bring about